What up, Andy?
Second half -6.
Is it really? You were telling me we were going to
21.
get like a pick or maybe
I,
under
I,
three.
I've had a
Oh,
beer. I had a beer, and then for some reason, I said this like anchored in my head is that the line was 6.5 because I've been staring at my teaser all week. So I'm
yeah.
sitting on a teaser.
Did
Do
you
you have
fall
any?
asleep by the pool or did you pass out?
Did you pass out, Billy? So yeah, it is way. Yeah, I'm like maybe 4 or 4.5, not even close. Bookmaker has 621 juice to the over. I'm gonna bet that right
Woo,
now because it's
woo,
probably going that way. It's
woo.
minus 117 to the over. It'll be interesting to watch how this market shapes up over the I almost said holiday season, over the halftime. Did anybody get a live Chiefs ticket when Pittsburgh scored?
Yeah, it was in the
Bet
four and a
on
half range.
Bet Online had a 3.5
I
with
didn't see it that low, but three
normal
and a
with
half and 4.5 isn't all that difference.
yeah,
So
not a big difference, but I mean, especially the way this one is going right now, 3.5 and 13.5 might not be a big difference, but there were some 3.5s out there. If anybody got a ticket on that, good job because the live line is now closer to 20.
oh wow.
If you
Let's
add
play the
if you
second half
add
over
in
21 and a
yeah.
half. I think is bettable. A lot of paths to victory there for 21 and a half. That's too low. It
We're
should be
also
higher.
we talked a little off air. Possible YOLO balls by Ben. What are you going to do? Just run the ball when
Well,
you're down
see, this is the
30?
thing is that he doesn't actually even really. I don't think he convinces himself he needs to start YOLOing yet. I think he
No,
really
but
is
fourth
just like
quarter.
his balls have been fair. His receivers are not making plays,
Yeah.
and I think if there's a little bit of mean reversion where Deontay Johnson drops five fewer balls this half, then Pittsburgh's going to score some offensive points. And really, all we need with over 21 and a half is Pittsburgh to get 7, as far as I can tell you. I can see KC getting to 20, getting 21
17,
themselves.
17-7, 17-10. Those all seem pretty likely.
Real quickly, the Chiefs get the ball first, so they probably score a touchdown there, and it's probably 28-7. Defensive scores still live for the Chiefs. A lot of paths to victory for over 21 and a half. I think
I
that's where
think
we
so.
go. You good with that?
I'm good
All
with
right.
that. And with
Real quick,
that,
couple
like,
couple
yeah,
comments about this game. The TJ Watt defensive touchdown was just an awesome team play
I have a
overall. Like
question.
it was
Like,
a sloppy mess of an offensive play call.
yeah, I mean, it was a bad idea to get cute there. And weird, you had a bad handoff when it's not the normal people who are doing
Yeah.
that kind of
Oh, weird.
transition.
Oh,
Weird,
huh,
but also
weird.
like when a player, if a player's laying on their back, now I'm not so sure that he was touching a chief, but so you don't have to have possession, like, or you have to have possession to be called down. So if the ball's on top of him, because I mean, Watt just reached down and picked the ball up off another player, basically. I don't think that play should have been called dead. I was just a little confused on the ruling there, and it was nice. And it's not a show I've ever seen, but I will say it was nice having young Sheldon chime in on the Nickelodeon broadcast to tell us some of these things. Like he could have cleared that up for me. We had some weird stuff between the whistle in the middle of a play, the ref trying to tackle Dak, and just Jerome Boger in general. It's been a thing. It's been a thing this play. It's been a super wild card weekend for refs, and I hate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It has been, and you knew it was coming. We think we even talked about it. It's been a bad year for the refs. The idea that all of a sudden they were going to get better in the playoffs was laughable. Ultimately, I think the crew that called what's been the best crew so far? I like the crew that called the Pats Bills game. That was a fair crew. And honestly, that was just because they were so cold they didn't feel like taking their hands out of their pockets to throw a flag, which was nice because it was a very cleanly called game. The I guess the only other couple comments on this game before I want to talk about other football stuff and then some tennis stuff. Mahomes scrambling is obviously something that the Bills need to be prepared for. That's such a huge part of his game this last couple weeks, and really, it looks like it's something that they kind of coached out of him for the early part of the season, and they were like, "Hey, man, just put that under your hat. Keep that, that scramble live. You're going to need it in January." and he's needed it, and he's done it exceptionally well the last handful of weeks, and then in this game. Travis Kelce is not look like the Travis Kelce of last year, even though he has an absolutely disastrously good matchup for the Chiefs in this game. They can't cover his ass. And I guess Jerick McKinnon showing signs of life for the Chiefs running game is not great.
I had to figure out who that was for a second. I had the
number one.
I didn't have the sound, and I'm like, is that? I was trying to figure out which receiver they kept handing the ball. And I'm like, oh shit, that's McKinnon.
That's
like
McKinnon, he's playing with spirit. He's playing with fire.
Yeah, I can see, and I feel bad for Williams if the fumble stinks, but I'm not sure that was 100% his fault. Yeah, not a lot to say in this game. I think Drew covered most of it pretty well. It's just
I guess one other comment.
Felt like a bear poking. Like I said, it was a bear poking when they scored the defensive touchdown. Like it was a noticeable difference in the offensive play calling or execution, at least. Like, Christ, this team can just score. And it is a 2-7. And really, the difference in the AFC between the 1, 2, and 3 is negligible enough where this might as well be a 1-7. It's in Arrowhead. Like, this is a tough ask for the Steelers. It was wild to see the scoreboard with him up first. And I guess the best part about that was a live line. You bring up a good point about the scrambling, though. It was something we talked about a lot last playoffs, didn't we? With the foot injury, and we weren't sure if that was going to be a part because it was like, man, if you run some deep crosses or just anything where you can clear out the middle of the field, it's just awful as a defense to just watch him. Anytime you have contain, anytime there's a lane that opens up, not only it's like you said yesterday, fast and quick. Like and quick is a little bit between the ears too. He's quick to make a smart decision to take off, and he looks good doing it right now. It's scary. We haven't even seen Tennessee play, but between watching this and the Bills game, Tennessee's dead. Calling them dead right now.
What?
I'm calling them dead. They don't have a chance to win. Yep.
Tennessee.
They might win. They might win one game.
So
they ain't winning two.
No. There's a more elegant way to say that. Next week is the AFC Championship game.
That's fair. Yeah, like them beating both these teams. It happened.
They beat them both in back-to-back weeks.
Yes,
I think they did, right? No, real quick. The only other thing that I can think of about this that matters for next week, not seeing a lot of Tyreek Hill, and the heel injury may be a thing. Like, they're getting it done with Pringle and Robinson and the other guys, Hardman. It's like the B team has had to step up. Tyreek Hill has not been a game breaker in this one. The heel issue may be real, so keep an eye on that.
That's the thing too. Like if this game continues to trend towards blowout city, hopefully that's something where if you're a Chiefs backer, Chiefs anything, you hope he just rests that up and doesn't have to put any undue stress. Excuse me. Brett brought up a good point when I shit on the refs. The Dallas Niners game wasn't that bad. There was a lot of calls. There was some ticky-tack holding on the Niners that got the Cowboys back into it. I don't know,
but I think almost
there's
every
two of those
time,
every game. But a lot of the calls, a lot of those calls were like, because the one was a defensive holding on a running play to the edge. I'm like, what the shit was that? And then they replay it, and he has a bear hug. I'm like,
and then it was the same thing with the illegal hands to the face because it was like, there's a flag in the backfield, that's pass interference, that's ticky tack, and they're like, no, illegal hands to the face, and then you're like, oh Christ, let's see the replay of this. And then you're like, he almost took his damn helmet off. That was clearly illegal hands to the face. Yeah, so and there was like 4 of those where you hear the call and you're like, oh Jesus. And then you see the replay and you're like, oh no, that was exactly the correct call. If it weren't for the last play and honestly, like Dallas scrambling for their lives, getting that spike, and then having one shot at the end zone. I mean, what's the probability that that's a touchdown anyway? It's not good. I mean, it's not the ref's fault. I mean, that was an insanely coached game by McCarthy for much of the game. And that's the thing, like that bear hug. If that happens on the other side of the field, they probably leave but it was right by the play.
Like it was on the same side of the play. Like you got to call that defensive hold. That illegal hands to the face, like you said. His face mask was pointing up here. What are you gonna do on that shit? You have to. It stinks when you've already called some ticky tack stuff because there were a lot of penalties. It felt like, but otherwise that was kind of an entertaining game. It was better than the early one. The Eagles put some points up late to maybe put the spread in doubt, I guess, if you were, maybe you had the worst of the number and you laid 10 with Tampa or something. But at that point, I mean, that game stunk. That stunk a lot.
Yeah. I mean, Eagles, I felt bad because almost all of the in-game reaction online was like, oh, Hurts sucks. And like, I'm watching it. I'm like, the fuck did you expect from a second-year player with 1 year of starting under his belt in his first ever playoff game against not just a good defense, but like a bunch of veterans who just won the fucking Super Bowl. These are like this is a pretty huge disparity. And also a coach who had never been in there before and a bunch of young players who had never been there before. Like
Drew, we need to hurry this up. Link is in here. Like Calhoun, he's got to get to bed in like 7 hours, so we got to hurry up.
Okay, I'm just staying up so I can see his golf tour of the year video, which I'm sure he will post after Henley wins, right? After Henley wins, is Henley gonna win or is Matsuyama gonna run him down? We don't know yet, I guess. The Bucks game was only notable in that they lost a couple linemen. Potentially problematic when you're going up against Rams Cardinals winner. So Rams Cardinals winner for sure goes to Tampa, and San Francisco for sure goes to Green Bay. We know this. And almost certainly Cincy goes to Tennessee and KC hosts Buffalo.
Unless something impossible happens here. Yeah. So, and that is, it's nice
shit, dude! It's a playoff.
It is a playoff. Walk off.
Sorry.
It's nice that we get to know tomorrow. Like no matter what happens in this game, we know the team's paths are not. I don't think there's a situation where they would make a Monday game where that wasn't the case. Like everybody else knows what's going to happen for the most part because it is a 4-5 there, right? That's 4-5.
Yeah, it's 4-5. So basically, once with the 6-7 and with the 2-7 and the 3-6 done, we were going to know. We were going to know regardless. Yeah. So
what did you think of the Niners pooping a little at the end?
Well, it felt like classic Kyle Shanahan, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle Shanahan, like, what was it, 20-6 when Jimmy threw the pick that got the Cowboys back into it? Is that right?
Yeah, it felt over. And then
even at 24-6, it felt like the Niners should have had more points at that point. Like, it felt like they should have had 30. You know, they settled for a couple field goals when they were driving cleanly. They weren't really using Deebo Samuel as much as I thought they were going to. When they did use Deebo Samuel, you want to talk about bad beats. You want to talk about injustices.
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel was your MVP, and he was unjustly.
I don't know who's voting in that.
I'm sure it's an online prank sort of situation at this point.
Yeah, I thought
it should have been Deebo Samuel.
All right, here's my promise to you and you guys in the chat right now. Anyone who's still here, you need Barstool did. It's going to be hard to overcome the Barstool vote. There's a lot. They have a lot of reach. I'd like to try to at least get somebody on the board, get somebody in third place next year. Well, Oh, you know what? We'll talk to Big Cat. We're gonna get it so it's not the losing quarterback every year. That has to feel so bad. Like lose the game.
If they had trotted Dak out and put him in the slime machine, I would have lost my shit. It would have been absolutely hysterical. After that, especially if they had been like, into the slime, buddy, you're the MVP.
Yep.
That would have been unbelievable. So I am with them in spirit.
It's like the end of Kingpin, where he throws his hand out, where Big Ern McCracken has his hand, and he throws it in his hand. And poor, what is his name? What's the other guy? Rubber Man.
Bill Murray.
Well, no, like the other character's name. I can only think of Big Earn.
Oh, I don't remember. All right. Well, regardless,
Roy Munson. Thank you, Dan.
the entirety of that Dallas San Francisco game felt like bad football decisions. And the fact that Fred Warner got hurt, the fact that Joey Bosa got hurt has me super sad because I was excited for Green Bay San Fran. Like San Fran matches up so well against that team in a cold weather situation if they're full strength. You know, it is just a beauty of a matchup. Depleted, they're gonna have to hold on for their damn lives. So I'm a little concerned about them next week. Either way, I think Green Bay still is going to have to host and win an NFC championship game against an equal strength opponent. Tampa, Rams, maybe even Arizona. And it should be a good NFC battle to the finale. And then, yeah, like you said, I think realistically next week is your de facto AFC championship game.
Yeah, the interesting no, they're moving though. Was the center again? I wasn't paying super big attention to the injuries here. I'm gonna kind of get some notes together at the end of that. I thought the center was okay for Tampa.
Brett Jensen.
Yeah,
he may have even returned, but
I think he played. I mean, it looked rough. He just got bent over backwards.
Wirfs was the bigger problem. You're going up against a legit pass rush now.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of people said it. A lot of people said the same thing, and they were right. Like Wirfs didn't really matter in that game that he was out with the pass rush issues that Philly was not having there, and it was going to matter next week. Like no matter what, no matter who you play, any of the teams are left, it's definitely going to matter missing them. So it's tough. Yeah, and he came back and played. I thought I saw his mop in the game. Yeah. I don't know. Tampa looked good. Everybody who's won and played looked pretty good. The Niners looked good for a big chunk of that game. They just kind of they pooped a little at the end. The Niners offense looked pretty fun.
We got to cool our jets a little bit though on Bills and Tampa because they both were matched up against the inexperienced teams. Inexperienced, really.
But you still got to go out there and beat these bad teams.
You still got to go out there and beat them. Yeah, that's right. And Kansas City looks like they were not inclined to do that until they got that defensive touchdown today. But they've now snapped out of it. I don't know, man. It's going to be a competitive divisional round either way.
I'm psyched for all the matches.
What kind of let's say that the second half of this game is Kansas City 24-7. Or no, Kansas City 17-7. 24 points. KC wins 17-7. What kind of line do you see in KC Buffalo? Is it on the other side of 3 or is it under 3?
I think we're still sitting right around that 3.
But it's key if you're on either side, obviously, because last year's game, the AFC title game, was pretty clearly a fat 3, like it was on the high side. This year's game
that's the thing. You had two
Buffalo
teams beat. You had two teams beat. I don't want to call. I mean, I'm fine calling the Steelers a bad team. I don't want to call the Patriots a bad team. The defense played up this year. They made some strides with a young offense and a lot of new pieces, honestly. But like they beat up on teams who they're supposed to beat up on. I don't think much has changed in the optics unless there's some injury in the second half for the Chiefs or like Hill can't go altogether. I think you make it a 3 and let the market kind of push it one way or the other.
Okay.
If you made it a 3.5 or a 2.5, you're just going to take heavy action one way or the other.
You don't think you make it a 2.5 expecting that everybody and their mommy wants to be on the Bills?
Yeah, but to be fair, like the early money and Mahomes to Hill. There we go.
Was it a game breaker? Was it a game breaker from Hill or just did you run it?
No, they were at the 5 at that point. They had a nice little play before that. So here's I guess so. Like That's a good question because how many people who are, let's say, the public are betting this game tonight, tomorrow, Tuesday?
No, they're
That
only taking
you're
quasi
only
sharp action.
you're taking sharp, quasi sharp action. Those people, if you had a 3.5, that number would get absolutely wrecked. Maybe even a 3. So you know what I would say? Charge people for the Bills. Make it -3 plus 100. Make
Okay.
it -1. Make it Buffalo plus one -120. If you want
Okay.
the +3, you're gonna pay. That's what I'd do. And then
Okay.
Hill did gymnastics. That was awesome.
Oh, nice. So maybe his heel is fine. I will have to go back and rewind and watch that. The other AFC game, Tennessee Titans are going to host Joe Burrow and company. Burrow, of the young quarterbacks, of the inexperienced quarterbacks, I'm even going to throw Dak into the mix.
Yeah.
Dak's inexperience showed today for a lot of that game, I thought. He's only won the one play. He's only won the one playoff game. He really just didn't look himself for much of the first 3 quarters. Best throw by far before the final frame was the punter on the fake punt. The inexperienced quarterbacks stunk, except for Burrow. Burrow was cool. He was pretty good. What's your game grade for Burrow for his performance against the Raiders?
Like A, that's the thing. He didn't. Well, this is the thing we've said about him for like 2 years. Even in limited time last year, he just didn't seem like
Nothing, not phased at all, right?
Yeah, it just didn't seem like the moment was too big. You see these young quarterbacks, they get happy feet in the pocket. They get, their brain freezes. They have trouble with their reads. They have trouble with the adjustment to the line. They have trouble reading defenses. Just hasn't seemed like that. I'm not sure I've seen someone come into the league so quickly and just seem like he's played there for 5 years before. Even his post-game interviews, he sounds like a vet. So, yeah, his. I don't want to put him ahead of Dak, but he's ahead of Dak, right?
Yeah,
I feel like
so. Okay.
It feels disrespectful for Dak, but
all right, here you go.
If I wanted to take a quarterback right now, I'd take Burrow over Dak.
Oh, I don't think that's a question.
Yeah, that's not controversial.
I don't think that's a question.
I know, but it feels disrespectful.
Does it?
I mean, Dak's had such good flashes.
Burrow was a 1.1. He's on a rookie deal. Dak was third round
throwing out contracts and ages and stuff. Just the player. Like he's
okay. So
right
real quick,
the
Tennessee Bengals game is going to be the early game on Saturday. What's your spread and total there?
$2.5.
That seems a little light for a team coming off a bye. That's one we did not see this year. That's Cincinnati is the only contender that Tennessee didn't play. They played everybody else.
They take away this touchdown.
They took away the Tyreek Hill.
Unbelievable.
Oh
Unbelievable.
God, are they kicking a field goal?
No, that was like second down.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, good.
You can't. You already did a backflip.
He did the backflip, guys. What are we doing here? This is inconsequential to everything except for the second half over, which it matters a lot. So the question, I think it's a flat 3. I think Tennessee goes in as a 3-point favorite. I don't think they are interested in putting.
I did 2.5 minus 125.
If I'm the book, I'm not interested in creating a situation where I need Cincinnati.
I think they just threw to a lineman.
Ooh, nice.
They scored it now.
Cool. Was it Creed Humphrey?
It was Algaretti.
That would be cool. Oh, I don't know who that is. I don't think you can throw to your center, can you?
Oh, there's no, unless he came in and there was a different center and he lined up as a tackle eligible. Okay. You do have to be on the end of the line.
You have to be at the end.
Nick Algaretti is a guard. He must have lined up outside though.
Outside, yeah. Okay, so
that one counted.
Nice, good. Yes, let's go. Thick 6. Yes, John.
I love
Thick 6 is a great call. The total. Tennessee, Cincinnati, 49?
Fair.
Okay.
high 48, 49, I'd say. Yeah, and you're probably right on the 2.5. That'd get gobbled up, wouldn't it? You got to think about like.
I think you're going to catch a lot of early Tennessee money if you give people the 2.5, and it'll find its way to 3.
Public feels pretty heavy. Mahomes, pretty heavy. Burrow.
Okay, so then your Saturday nighter, you know what Saturday night's game is going to be? San Francisco, Green Bay.
Yeah,
for
Niners,
sure.
Green Bay. Jesus Christ.
What's your line there? What's your opener? Green Bay 5.5, 6,
6, maybe 6.5. These injuries didn't trend very well, and everything trended well for Green Bay with injuries over the last few weeks. Coming off a bye, Rodgers looked really good in the first half, again against a shit team, but still, like, they got him some action. Yeah,
Rodgers won that game in San Fran week 3, even though he went against Jerome. Even though he blew up the Booger cast, the Booger fest.
Brian says it's up at FanDuel. It's 4.5. And it was 6.5, bet down to 4.5, 5. That's interesting. So Niners money today. I have a question for Brian from the chat. Was it up before the game was played, or does this all happened since the game? I'm curious.
That's the only known out. That's the only known for sure head-to-head.
I'm guessing the limits aren't real big on that.
That's the only known for sure head-to-head, so it probably is since the game was played.
Well, I mean, sometimes 5 Dimes used to throw shit up before the games even happened.
Like, oh, yeah. No, I love them for that. Love looking at those.
I can't believe how many, like, there was always bad numbers. Those games just never happened for us. Like,
right.
I feel like you and I bet into like 6 or 7 of those, and then the games just didn't happen.
No,
it's like, you know, if that game had happened, we'd have had.
Yeah, after the game. Yeah, okay. Yeah. This is after they ended the Dallas game. Okay.
All right. I'm gonna after you got anything else to touch on? I'm gonna run home.
Yeah.
I went to the bar next door for a bit.
The early game on Sunday is Tampa Rams, or the late game?
Oh, Pittsburgh fumbled the ball on the first play.
Oh yeah, is KC in the red zone?
Yeah, they're at like the 30.
Oh, great, awesome. Well, we're gonna get our points. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, this is easy peasy.
I need Pittsburgh to put up somewhat of a fight. I don't want the largest covering the spread to be the Chiefs. That would fucking suck.
Every game has put that in danger so far.
I know, every single one, every game. Although this is a 12-pointer spread wise, so they're gonna have to beat that.
Oh, it's relative to the spread. Not
it's for Rob. He needs.
Oh, Rob is biggest margin
he's
of loss.
He's at margin. Yeah,
he had Pats.
He had Pats. Yeah, they lost by 30, and the Bills covered by 25.5. So we are each holding 4% of the pot for now.
A lot of football.
A lot of football
to sweat.
A lot of football left. Yeah.
So. All right,
although I do think, to his credit, Rob scooped the 4th down pot last night. The 4th down pot was highest 4th down conversion percentage, and the tiebreaker is number of 4th downs converted. And the Patriots went 4 for 4.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I don't think anyone's touching that.
5 for 6 seems possible.
No. But that loses. You need to be 100. You need to be 100. You need to be the 5 for 5 is the or better is
touchdown.
Touchdown. Yeah, let's go.
Tyreek, this one. Oh my god.
Good shit, man. No, that's why we played the over.
That's why we played. That's silly. Should have been 24. Hype said Andy is pretty good. We will. What time before I run? What time are we? 7.
Andy does
7 Eastern. I gotta go.
Andy's got to go. I think the Chiefs are going to cover their teasers. By the way.
No.
7 Eastern.
7 Eastern tomorrow. We'll do a.
That puts a bow on our show before the kickoff.
We'll tie it up right before kickoff, and then we'll come back for halftime.
All right, cool. Good. Cool. Good. Cool. Oh my god.